So the NFL draft has finally wrapped up, man, and this has been a very, very crazy draft experience. Obviously, the elephant in the room was Shedeur Sanders dropping all the way down to round 5, number 144th pick. Now, pre-draft, like when the season was going on, obviously we knew Shedeur. The debate was who was going to go 1 and 2 out of Shedeur and Cam, and you look at from that all the way into what it transpired to with him being skipped over round after round after round after round and team after team, and some of these teams so desperately needed a quarterback. It left a big question mark. Obviously, a lot of people say that it kind of could have been how the NFL feels about Deion to a degree, or how some owners may feel about Deion, which is debatable. Some people say that it could have been that he was bumming some of his interviews, which is debatable. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at it from a playing perspective and what this young man does in between the white lines, I mean, you can't really deny it. Now, do I think that he's going to go on to the NFL and just be the next big thing? That's up for debate. But do I feel that he's talented enough to get in the NFL? Most definitely. And do I feel that he was talented enough to even be a second-round pick at minimum? Yes, most definitely. So what I did, man, I just kind of went through here, and I wanted to just kind of do a brief summary to just kind of paint the picture of to why this young man was supposed to have been drafted up higher, and it had to been something a little deeper than than any of us may know, at the end of the day. So like I say, everything is up to speculation, but so I put that obviously you look at the quarterbacks that was drafted before him. You had Cam Ward, who was drafted the number 1 pick, obviously, and I can that's probably Cam Ward and Jackson Dart are two that I can kind of give you with, okay, I can see why they were picked over him. But the other ones, to me, it just don't add up. So you got Jackson Dart, who was drafted in that same round by the Giants, who traded back up to get him. He was picked at number 25. You got Tyler Show, which from a Saints fan perspective, I don't like that one. He was drafted round 2, number 40. And I've been hearing that this guy has been injury prone throughout his whole career. So I'm saying to myself, so you mean tell me New Orleans passed up on Shedeur Sanders for him? Like, make it make sense. You got Jalen Milroe, who was drafted in round 3, number 92. No disrespect to Jalen Milroe. I think he's a phenomenal athlete, but do I think that he's better than Shedeur in terms of just being a quarterback? Absolutely. Not athletically, yeah. Speed, yeah. He's like a running back playing quarterback. You know what I mean? He's a definition, in my opinion, of when you say an athlete playing quarterback opposed to a quarterback, opposed to an actual quarterback. He's one of those guys that his athleticism is the base of who he is. When you look at plays being made, it's not plays that's being made with him throwing the ball or in a pocket. Most of the time it's him running the ball. Even when you look at what he did at LSU, and I mean, that's just not really going to translate into the type of success in the NFL that he had when in college. So then you had Dylan Gabriel, who was took in round 3, number 94, and then Shedeur Sanders fell all the way to round 5, number 144th pick, which is wild to me, bro. So you look at with Shedeur, man, this guy had the highest completion percentage in college football for the 2024 season with 74%. He led Jackson State to their first 2 Celebration Bowl appearances in program history, and resurrecting the Colorado Buffaloes' national relevance. And then that's for the people, like, look at the highest completion percentage. So when you have people that say, oh, he takes too many sacks, this is my thing with that. And I was having this debate with somebody about this. So let me answer this question. Let me ask you guys this question. If you feel that he takes too many sacks, right? For one, as James Jones said on the facility, what quarterback don't take, especially in college football, that don't take a lot of sacks, right? Now, look at it like this. So if you are a coach and we got first down, and on first down, whatever happened, offensive line don't hold up, or my receivers just can't separate from man coverage, whatever it is, right? So do you want me to take the sack and live to fight another day because we still got second down, we still got third down? Or do you want me to try to rush and get the ball out of my hand and end up throwing an interception? Or if I don't throw an interception and I end up getting an intentional grounding call, now we lose a down, and now we lose yardage, right? So even if it's on third down, even if you take a sack on third down, you get your field positioning back from the punt. So I mean, at the end of the day, I don't get it, because if you're saying it, okay, he holding on to the ball, take too many sacks. Now, if he get rid of the ball and not take sacks, then y'all gonna say he's loose with the football. And when you look at his turnover percentage, it shows you that he's very precise and with passing the ball and not giving it to the other team, which is a very value trait in the quarterback. That's what you want. So I broke down his season stats all the way from his first year with Jackson State to his last year with Colorado. We're going to start off with Jackson State. So in 2021, he played 13 games. He completed 272 passes out of 413. His completion percentage was 65.9. He had 3,231 pass yards, 30 pass touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, which is a good touchdown interception ratio. Like I said, that shows you that he don't turn the ball over much. He had 3 rushing touchdowns that year too. So you go to 2022, he played 13 games. He completed 344 passes out of 488 with a 70.5 completion percentage. He threw for 3,752 yards for 40 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, and then rushed for an additional 6 touchdowns for those who say that he's not athletic. So we're gonna go to the 2023 season. He played in 11 games that year. He completed 298 passes out of 430. He had a 69.3 completion percentage. He passed for 3,230 yards with 27 pass touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 4 additional rushing touchdowns. Now, let's keep in mind, when he was in Jackson State, these numbers he put up the first and second year was with a horrible offensive line and with little to no run game. So everything was based off of him offensively. And the defense was kind of suspect at times too. I remember one game they played, I can't remember exactly who it was they played, that team did not punt all game long. Like, how do you expect to win? What more can he do at that point? If my defense can't stop anybody, you see what I'm saying? Like, so he's able to do this. And if you say like, okay, some of these other guys that you put in front of them, well, when you look at the infrastructure that was around them, the personnel that was around them, then obviously, yeah, they're gonna have more overall success or even possibly some better numbers just because of what they got. But you know, like they say, when you get it out the mud, man, it hit different. So now we're gonna go to the 2024 season. He played in 13 games, threw for 353. He completed 353 passes out of 477. He had a completion percentage that was 74%, which was highest in all of college football for the 2024 season. He passed for 4,134 yards, 37 passing touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and rushed for 4 touchdowns. So I'm looking at the touchdown to interception ratio, and that's something you have to take into consideration with a quarterback, because one of the biggest things with quarterbacks is what? Ball protection, protecting the ball. I have to make sure that if anything, I don't give the defense or the opposing offense, the ball in good field position and put my defense in compromising positions, especially if I don't necessarily have the best defense. You know what I mean? So now we're going to jump into some records that was set by Shedeur. So he was first in Colorado single season passing yards with 4,134. He was first in Colorado single season completion percentage, which was a 74 completion percentage. He was first in Colorado single season touchdown to interception ratio, 9-1, once again, meaning what? He don't turn the ball over much. He was first in Colorado season passing touchdowns with 37. He was first in Colorado season completions with 353. He was first in Colorado single game passing yards with 510, which is insane. And guess what? I guarantee you that was with little to no run game, and the defense wasn't probably stopping the other team from scoring. He was first in Colorado single game completion percentage with 30 or 40 attempts, 80.9%. He was first in Jackson State single season touchdown passes, 40. He was first in Jackson State single season completions, 344. He was first in Jackson State single season completion percentage with a 70.5. He was second in Jackson State single season passing yards with 3,752. So the proof is in the pudding, man. The proof is in the pudding. When you look at it and you break it down, you ask yourself, why was he not taken? And that's, like I said, that's a question that, man, none of us might not ever be able to answer. But all I hope for is that he takes this as a challenge to say, okay, y'all thought that all these guys was better than me? Okay, cool. I'm going to show you that they're not. I'm going to show you that everything that y'all think of me is null and void. Because at the end of the day, what you think, how I carry myself and how I talk in my presentation ain't got nothing to do with what I do on the field in between those white lines. And everything I just read out shows you that when it matters and it's time to show up and play, this kid shows up, man. Like I said, man, once again, I always use the example of the UCLA game. You know, Cleveland Browns, if you want to know what you're getting in terms of a quarterback, fans, go look at the Colorado and UCLA game. I watched this man take a beating that whole game. That was from that 2023 season. They had 2 twins that was on the defensive line. I cannot think of those guys' name. And when I tell you, they were on Shedeur all night long. It got so bad that they actually were picking Shedeur up after they was hitting because they was hitting him so much. So that lets you know what he was working with. But what stood out to me was this. I didn't see him get up. I didn't see him go crying to the referees. I didn't see him go slapping his offensive lineman in the head. I didn't see him go getting mad at his receivers if they weren't able to constantly. I didn't see any of that. I seen the guy get up and keep competing. Even games where the game might have got out of hand, he was still competing. You know what I mean? So what you have is a competitor and a guy who has grit and toughness, and that's what you want. You know what I mean? Forget how he dresses or what he drives, all that stuff. All of that is irrelevant at the end of the day. And then when you look at it in terms, what trouble have you heard of this young man getting into? When have you ever heard him getting arrested? When have you ever heard him, for a domestic violence case? You see what I'm saying? So I don't understand it when they say, okay, the off the field. What off the field is like? Is, you know what I mean? It just don't add up to me. You know what I mean? Like I say, man, I'm not nowhere near saying that I think that he's going to be the best quarterback in the NFL. You know, I'm not saying that at all. But to say that he deserved to fall to round 5, it's crazy work, man. It's crazy work. Like I say, Cam Ward is the only one I can give you over him, maybe even Jackson Dart, but everybody else, man, that's like the famous words of Ocho Cinco, man. You can kiss the baby on that one. But, man, that is it for this video. Cleveland Brown fans, man, let me know what y'all think about the addition. I think it's a good addition. You know, I think that obviously things probably aren't going to work out with Deshaun Watson. And so now y'all have that secondary option. But then it also gives Shedeur opportunity to come in and not have to play immediately. He can come in and kind of develop and take his time and kind of go through the process. It might be a Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson situation. You know, halfway throughout the season, he might get the job and the rest be history. You know what I mean? But I'm curious to see this young man's growth. And like I said, man, I just hope he takes this as a challenge and don't look at it like the victim and say, man, you know what? I'm going to prove all y'all wrong. I'm going to prove y'all wrong, and I'm going to prove myself right. And everything that I've said about myself is you're going to see that within my play. So I'm excited to see that transition. But, man, if you did enjoy this video, man, do me a big favor. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, man, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure that notification bell is on. That way you won't miss no uploads. And I'll see y'all in the next video.